I made
This meeting
he
is
goes, oh,
being
wow, you work
recorded.
with her? Yeah.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Well,
Yep.
okay, cool. I'll let you start leading, man.
Absolutely. Okay. So this week is a pretty good week. We had someone close on someone within the community close on a deal on, I think it was Friday or Thursday. We have 2 more challengers are going to be closing a deal tomorrow. No, three. So before the end of the year, we're going to have, within 5 days, there was 5 deals closed within the challenge. So it's gonna be pretty awesome. So we have Kelly and Brock. They're going to be in this same deal I'm working on. Same with Creighton, which is like his first deal as well. So it's really cool. And then the Grantsville one we're doing, Brandon in the challenge is also going to be early games, closing the deal on the 31st as well tomorrow. So yeah, this is it's a big week. It's freaking awesome. I love it. I'm still in Vegas. You probably can tell me sitting on the bed, but all good. Sweet. Yeah. As far as the structuring the deal, like you're asking, then we'll go into the actual subject that you're saying, Frankie. It's the same as I do most transactions. It's based off of the equity blend, kind of what Mitch teaches. So the call that we talked about, partnership, is a good call to kind of rewatch if you really want to find out structuring, and also obviously watch the classes Renatus has on partnerships. But yeah, so like the equity partners come in, and how I normally structure it is they get the percentage of the total money needed. So if there's like $417,000 needed for the deal, like all in everything, like it's counting hard money, seller financing, whatever, and they're bringing in X amount, then they're going to get X amount of the profit slash losses, right? So that's kind of how I structure it. So that way it's not 100% debt, and still in the deal without using my own money or credit, which is pretty awesome. Okay, cool. So I did post today, like an hour and a half ago, and most of you said you wanted to learn more about the vision board or creating goals for this new year, right? I love this. That's awesome. I'm excited. Who here has an active vision board? I wonder. Either put in the chat or come off mute and just say, yeah, me, or I'm just curious. And also, who actually knows what a vision board is?
I already created mine.
Yeah?
Yes.
I have mine too.
Love it. So I wanted to talk about the science behind it too, and how these work, and how we should act with them, because what does 99.99% of all vision boards do? Like, a person will spend a couple hours on it, and then it stays on their wall, and that's the end of it. Does that sound about right?
At the
And then,
beginning, at the beginning, at the beginning, it is true, as you go with time, the years go by, and you start seeing that what you actually have and your board is actually happening to you, that's when you get more into it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, and I've seen people have vision boards, and it's there, and it's nice to look at, but it's not the same as actually using it the more effective way, to say the least, right? So a couple things. Does anybody have any questions so far before we jump into like vision boards or anything? Who has no idea what that even is, or what dream board, whatever you want to call it, right? And this is important because not just for the new year, but just in general, for changing your mindset, how we're wired. So one thing I want to talk about just real quick then is, this is something that's really fascinating. I've always been fascinated by psychology and how people think and why we do the things that we do. It's really amazing. One thing I want you guys to kind of, like, when we're talking about, like, either it's affirmations or vision board, perfect. I think it's coming in. When we're talking about affirmation vision boards, one thing I want you to also thinking into there's science behind it, because sometimes you hear people like, oh, this is magic. Like I put it in my vision board, I did my affirmations, I did all this, and then I got the thing I wanted. It was amazing. It sounds kind of hokey when I first heard about it. Like, this is kind of crazy. Like, that's one, magic's not real. So why am I even caring about this stuff? And there's just no way this stuff's true. But the more I started research and look into it, like, the more impressed I was of how this works in the human brain. The human brain, it's an organ, just like any other part of your body. It's an organ. It does its job. It can, and by the way, that organ's the job is not, the brain's job is not to keep you happy. The job is to keep you safe and alive. That's the job of the brain. And so that's when we do things, or we stay in situations that aren't providing the optimal solution to our lives. It's because we're stuck, right? Because we're just doing the same in, same out. Let me ask you guys this: do you guys and this is why this is important. So, do you guys feel your pants and your legs right now? Do you feel the fabric touching your skin?
So you said it.
Right. Absolutely. You didn't notice it until beforehand, but oh, now that you put attention to it, you do feel the fabric in your leg. But here's the thing: your sensors in your skin, those nerve endings, are sending constant signals to your brain saying, "Hey, something's touching me. Something's touching me. Something's touching me. Something's touching me." We're seeing so much data is being entered into our brains at one point in time, all through all of our senses, and then plus any of our random thoughts we have in there. There's so much data coming into our brain. If we would have just receive all of it and consciously interpret all of it, we would go insane. In fact, that's what a lot of autism will have. It's like all of that data is coming in all at once, and they're noticing it all, and that's why they get really, really overwhelmed. That's why they can't even talk. They go inside because it's just so much information coming to you that it's just overwhelming. So to keep us sane, our brain ignores the majority of things. So just an example, this is proof of what I'm talking about. We all bought a new car, right? And what happens if I just bought a Toyota, or for example, when I bought my Tesla a couple years ago, when I was driving it, suddenly I noticed Teslas were everywhere, and I didn't notice that before. Have we all experienced that? It's like you either buy a new shirt, or like, oh yeah, then suddenly you notice everyone else is wearing the same thing, or like you buy. So the reason why that's a thing is because by you buying it, you're telling your subconscious that thing is important. And so it will notice it more than you did before. So you were still seeing those same cars. If you bought a Toyota, or for my example, if I bought this Tesla, and now I'm seeing a bunch of Teslas on the road. Before that, I saw those Teslas just as much as I did just as I did now. But because I told my brain it's important, that my brain is noticing that, or telling my conscious that, instead of just my subconscious. Does that make sense? When you're doing something that you're telling your brain it's important, you start seeing that. It's the same like when you're driving for dollars. At first, I didn't think there was that many distressed properties out there that looking really batted up, boarded up windows. Like, there's not that many out there. So I'm kind of wasting my time. But once I started to do it and make it important, my brain started to notice this type of things throughout the day. And then oh wow, there's so many distressed properties that I can write down as I'm driving for dollars, or as I'm dropping the kids off from school, or whatever it is. It's that's where the magic is. It's not because those things just appeared. It's those things were always there. You're just now noticing them. And so that's why when we're doing vision boards, and we're setting our goals, especially for this new year, if you're creating it the right way, then you're telling your brain this is a real thing. And oh, sure, my mic didn't die. Yeah, we're good. It's a real thing, and that's why the opportunities will start popping to get that one goal you're looking for than wasn't before. You know, if I'm in my mindset of everything works out for me, or I'm gonna close a deal to make me $100,000 this year. I'm gonna be noticing more opportunities that potentially would give me those than if I didn't have that goal beforehand, because I'm telling my brain it's important. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Awesome. This is really cool stuff, guys. When you really put into practice, it's freaking awesome. I love this stuff. So, excuse me. Um, that's why this is kind of like the big science of like the vision boards and goals and whatnot, right? Okay, perfecto. Okay, what other now with vision boards? There's a lot of things that Dane Clark does some really good training on vision boards, and it's really cool. There's a couple things I'm gonna suggest y'all do. So you can have a vision board that's like has different quadrants. Like this is your family part, this is your income, this is your all the above. You can break it apart. I mean, I don't think that necessarily matters too much. But you want to have specific goals you want to have on your vision board, and you want to have like you have multiple. So you want to have a vision board for the next 90 days, the next year, and then you can even go as far out as like the next 5 years, next 10 years. So you can have multiple vision boards for what's going to happen the next little bit, and you're going to be focusing more on the 90 days, but still have that vision of what's out there. And one of the magical things about vision boards just in general and the setting your goals and intentions and affirmations is that once our brains are all about consistency. What are habits, guys? If we had to think about every step we do when we're brushing our teeth, that's a lot of brain power that we would have to use just to do our mundane things. We put in our shoe without even thinking. We always put in the same foot, the next foot, the exact same way every single day. We have the same morning routines. You have the same habits of where you're driving to work, to school, to whatever you're going to, right? You're going to the same route, the same thing, and you do autopilot, right? So our brain creates these habits so it can use less mental energy. That's the whole purpose of it, and it wants to be consistent. Consistent is huge for our brain, because if we can have proof of this thing works, then we're going to stay with this thing. That's why a lot of people don't take any big action, because they don't feel like it's happened. They don't feel like it's even possible for them. So our brains will start telling us things that are subconscious, right? Subconscious tells things to give us really good excuses not to do something. So, for example, if my goal this year was to make $1 million in 1 year, right? I've never made $1 million in one single calendar year, right? I've done well over the transactions more than $1 million, but actually take home, earn money, more than $1 million in a year, I haven't done that yet. And so if that was my goal for the year, then I would need to, as part of the vision board, the thing is just not cutting out pictures of what you want. It's specific what you're looking for, and then actually kind of imagining it happening. Because our brains don't know the difference between imagination and memory. Faith, yes, exactly, Rena, perfect. When faith, you're having it, right? But so just an example, guys, when I'm remembering when I was a kid playing in the park with my grandma, for example, it's not like I'm going back into my brain and looking at the same image that was done. If I'm remembering seeing something, the same part of my brain of where the vision is actually controlled, it lights up. So when I remember seeing something, remember feeling something, the same parts of my brain as I'm feeling or that I'm tasting or whatever I'm remembering at that time, or whatever sense I'm receiving the information, that part's activated in our memories. So when we're remembering something, we're actually recreating that image or that memory in our brains. That's why you hear a lot of people of having false memories. Like they have a ton of studies with this, where like maybe there was a story and everyone was talking about like a family story where the uncle, I don't know, cut his pants on fire, whatever, it doesn't matter. And everyone talks about that story, and even though that maybe if they've done studies like this where that person wasn't there, but they hear about it all the time, that after so long they think, oh yeah, I was there, and they remember, oh yeah, I was sitting here and then I saw this. They created a false memory from this whole thing because they're hearing about it, they're memorizing it, they're visualizing it, and just like, as you know, through the conversations, people have actually had false memories and they believe it was true, and like, oh, I guess I wasn't there. I thought I was there. It's weird. I'm sure we all had something similar like that happen in one way or another. But when we're remembering things, or excuse me, when we're visualizing, when we're using imagination, it's the exact same part of our brains that are reactivated as if it really happened. That's why when you're using vision boards, it's important to actually visualize what you're putting on there in a daily process, in a daily action. Because if I'm going to make that $1 million in a year, and what's going to say to my brain? It's going to be like, well, no, you've never made that much money in 1 year. You can't do that. It'll start giving me. It's really good about giving me reasons why this won't happen, right? Oh, you're not going to have enough time. You're already stressed as it is, or whatever it is, whatever story it's going to tell myself. And you think it's the thoughts, right? Oh, and you start laying down like why you can't do those things because you haven't done it. But I tell you what, like before making $35,000 in a single month, just an example. If someone had told me that we make closing a couple of deals a month and making that kind of money on a monthly basis, if they would have told me that when I was working at Walmart, I would have thought like, no, that's insane. There's no way. That's so crazy to me that's not even possible. Like this doesn't even make any sense. Like making $35,000 in 1 month, there's no way. That's impossible. There's no way. But after you do it and done it, and especially if it's multiple times, it doesn't seem that far out of reach. Like, okay, yeah, I've done it. I feel like you don't have as much pushback when you're trying to do something like that than before you've done it. Does that make sense? Like when I'm talking about like certain deals and transactions, and I'm like really stoked because we're gonna make like 6 figures in this flip that we're working on, and I'm talking to some my other investor friends. They're like, oh yeah, 6 figures. That's nothing, man. Like they're doing developments where they're doing like $1 million, like 500,000 and plus profits and $1 million profits in certain transactions. So you're talking to those people and like, yeah, that $90,000 deal you're talking about, that's nothing. Yeah, that's cool. That's awesome. Good for you. But yeah, that's side money for us. You know what I mean? Because they've done so much, and they started somewhere. They started with zero, but they built up that like, oh yeah, I know how to do this. This is fine. This is normal. My income level is this. Because here's the thing too, why it's important to kind of visualize and have the vision boards on something like this. We all have our odometer, right? Odometer, but like a temperature gauge. Like my house, we have it at 71 degrees. And so what happens if it gets hot outside? Then it kicks on the cooler and lowers the temperature. It goes up 74, it lowers it down. If it goes down to 65, then it kicks on the heat and makes it at 71. We all have our own gauge as far as how much money we're going to make, how much happiness we're going to have, what the type of relationships that we're going to have, that we have with our kids, with our spouse, with all the above. Every category you can think of, we have that set number or that set level of comfort on every single one of those things, because that's in according to our subconscious, that's what's safe, that's what's normal. And so it'll do everything. That's why, like, you have self-sabotage jumping in. You have all of this stuff kind of bombarding yourself without even realizing it, to keep yourself back to where that gauge is. So if you can have that vision board, so like that $1 million a year, for example, or like I'm going to close my first wholesale transaction, or I'm going to do whatever that is. If you actually create those memories with your imagination, and you connect it with emotion, as much as you possibly can. I'll talk about a little bit how to do that here in a second. But you're going to create that memory in your brain so it becomes a real thing. Once you start doing it, then it's like, oh yeah, sure. You have less resistance of actually seeing it, and then you'll start noticing opportunities. You'll start noticing someone, oh yeah, my neighbor, or a thought might pop in your head. Like, I know Sally and Bob are having a hard time. I wonder if I should give them a call and see if there's anything I can do to help. And then you call Sally and Bob, and suddenly, yeah, they're actually looking to sell their house. Oh, well, great. Well, let me see what I can do to help you. Let's see if I can let's make a deal. It's not because it's magic or anything, because your subconscious is now like letting you hit those goals because they're real. We've already done it, and as far as our brains are concerned, it's already been created. Is this making sense, or is this all just crazy talk?
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. This is good stuff, guys. So it is vision boards and having your goals, especially when you're looking at the new year. The percentage of people actually completing their goals and everything else, and it's astronomical low, right? Because what happens with the New Year's resolution? Who here has actually had a New Year's resolution and then they never accomplished it?
Me.
Yeah, like everyone
Me
here.
too.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So it's like everyone here has had those dreams, those New Year's resolution. I'm gonna lose X amount of pounds. I'm gonna start going to the gym. I'm gonna earn this much money, whatever. And then what? A week or two in, you're at the donut shop and grabbing your donut or whatever, right? Whatever it is.
Guilty.
Yeah, you're onto your own your old habits. That's why it's important, like when you're creating these goals and when you're doing a vision board, is to create different habits, obviously, but also like making it so like as whatever it is, if your vision is like, I'm gonna have a six pack, I'm gonna be X amount of buff, whatever, great, have a vision of yourself looking like that, in your mind, and you're feeling like you already are that person. And then it turns to like, oh, I'm not a diet, but it's like, I'm a healthy person, so I'm not gonna eat the donuts because that's just who I am. I am a healthy person. So I'm not gonna buy that donut because that's not who I am. Tony Robbins talked a little bit about this. He used a really cool example, but it's like, who here doesn't smoke?
Smoke. I don't.
You don't. So if I offered you guys a pack of Marlboro Lights, you wouldn't be tempted to smoke it, would you?
No.
Why? When other people are really having a hard time letting that go, why wouldn't you be tempted to smoke it?
Not addicted to it.
I'm not like it.
You're not. Yeah, it's just
Jason is asking if it's a light, I guess.
right, or whatever brand you want to put in there, right? But what is it's if you're not a smoker and someone offers you a cigarette, it's like no big deal. Like, I don't want to say no, that I'm not a smoker. Or when you're like when your goal is like to find a deal or whatever, it's like, or like if your challenge is being consistent, like working your sacred time, like we talked about before, guys. Like I'm dedicated to this. I'm going to close multiple deals. Like if you, so
Jared, we can't hear you anymore. Your mic is off.
Here, I thought my hearing was finally gone.
you hear me okay now?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought it was my phone.
Okay. Weird. Anyways, I'm not in my office, so I don't have like all my stuff. I'm kind of winging it here. But anyways, perfect. Okay, sweet. So that's what I'm saying. So when you feel like you're a healthy person, you just don't eat those donuts. Or when you feel like you're a real estate investor, whether you've done a deal or not, or when you've done a couple, or when I am a real estate investor, I am the wholesaler. I find deals at least once a week. Every single day, I'm working on deals that are gonna earn me money. When you change your identity at the same time, and you're changing your identity by visualizing yourself doing those things, because then if it's like when I was working at Walmart, guys, and I was like trying to get into real estate and start investing and start finding deals, a lot of pushback. I had like my own pushback, like, is this, I've never done anything like this, I'm just gonna fail, I'm gonna look stupid, I'm wasting my time, I'm not spending the time with my family, and I'm out here knocking on doors in the middle of winter. I feel like I'm just wasting my time, I need to quit. All of those thoughts came through my brain, all of them, to say the least, right? Amongst a million others. But if I'm already, yeah, I'm a real estate investor, I'm a wholesaler, I'm a fix and flipper, I am this. And people that are wholesalers, they knock on doors, they make phone calls, they send out those letters, they do all of those things they need to do to accomplish those goals, but that's just who they are. And that's what vision boards help you change, is your internal definition, your definition of yourself, of what you do and what you are. Just like how being a smoker, like if I'm a non-smoker, I am very much not tempted on smoking. Like that's not even a thing for me. It's literally what you are. You change your identity. So if you change your identity to be a wholesaler, to be a real estate investor, to be a fix and flipper, a person that builds generational wealth, the action, the things you take to make those actions happen become easy or normal, right? Maybe not easy, but at least easy to do.
Jared,
Yes,
I would like to add something
please.
that helped me too, because sometimes when I was doing those vision boards in the past, I was kind of keep it like all real, because I don't want to get super disappointed if I didn't reach my goals.
Yeah.
But then I switched it because I was like, okay, no, I have to make it like bigger goals, right? Even if it doesn't happen, doesn't matter. I have to accept that, but my brain doesn't know that this is not happening yet. So I have to start feeling that actually happened, like that, like simple, like the, getting a six pack, yeah, whatever is that goal that sometimes you feel, oh, that is not even realistic. Like, come on, I cannot do that. But I start feeling like it's real and it can happen. So that can help too.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It dramatically helps having that vision. And as far as like how big of a goal should we have, that's why I recommend doing like a 90-day vision board of things you want to accomplish within the next 90 days, the next 3 months. What are you going to accomplish? So it's not going to be like, I'm going to make $1 billion this year, or within the next 90 days. Like that's probably not that's not going to happen. Okay, I mean, it could, who knows? But your brain, it's a lot of hurdles to overcome to get to that point. But it's like, okay, in the next 90 days, I'm going to make an additional $100,000 of income through real estate or any other fashion. That's something that's more doable, more reasonable. I'm going to close on the next 90 days. I'm going to close on my first wholesale transaction where I'm going to make $15,000 on it. That's a reasonable step, right? Because the another thing is too, like when you do get goals that are like way out there, it can be more challenging for your brain to believe it. So like as we're having that 90-day, that's why it's kind of nice to have a shorter term vision board, and then you can have like your big year. At the end of the year, I want this, and this, right? Or this is going to happen. I'm going to do this type of person, and then maybe on a 5 or 10-year vision board where it's going to be like, okay, this is where I'm going to be a billionaire. This is where I'm going to be a multimillionaire. Where I'm going to have 1,000 units of XYZ or whatever those goals may be. I'm gonna own a gym, I'm gonna do whatever, right? All that. So that way you're kind of you're bite sizing the steps to get there. Because like I said before, if my goal was to make $1 million within a year of actual just straight up income, when I was working at Walmart, the most I ever made was $60,000 a year. That's a big jump. But when I made it smaller, I just want to close one fix and flip deal at maybe $40,000. Like, okay, that's a little bit easier to put myself in that place and how it would feel. Does that make sense? But you still want to have the big vision out there, but that's why you put like the within 90 days vision board, like more bite-sized, more reasonable, so then less hurdles for you to actually feel like this is something I can accomplish. Is that making sense, guys? Yeah. Pete, dude, I love you, man. This is any type of quoting of Yoda or Star Wars, you become my instant friend. Using the Force, Yoda, effectively free the X-wing from the bog. I don't believe it. That's what Luke says, and then that is why you failed. That is facts, right? You got to believe what you want to accomplish, and again, if you don't have it, it seems so far out there to make that $1 million, but it's like, okay, great, I've made 40,000 within a year, so if I just kind of shorten my time frame, I'm going to make 40,000 in 3 months. That's a little bit more believable, and then it's easier for you to get there, right? So that's why it's important to have kind of shorter term vision boards as well, in addition to those big goals, those big things you really want to accomplish. Okay. Now, how should you guys, what should you put on your vision board? Like, how should it be? So here's the structure we want to do, right, guys? So when you have a vision board, and there's a reason why you want to do it this way, but let me get a little whiteboard here. Okay. So when you have your vision board, and here's the thing, you want to have a place in your house where you're going to see it very, very often. Okay, that could be a calendar or excuse me, a whiteboard. I honestly recommend in Amazon they have a lot of this is something I learned from Dane Clark. You want to be able to, when you're creating a vision board, what do we do? A lot of times we'll get the magazine clippings, we'll do the printing, and then we'll just spend hours and we'll gluing it on the board, make it nice and pretty. You're almost creating an extra barrier when you're doing all that fancy stuff. You want it to be able to put it on the you want to be able to put your goals easy on, easy off, where it's not that big of an effort to put those things on, because like, oh man, if I get that goal, I gotta take all that stuff off, but then I gotta redo the whole board because now the glue came off and it's gonna be a big pain in the butt. Whether you're thinking that consciously, but you're definitely thinking of it subconsciously. So the good thing with the vision boards, you want something easy on, easy off, where maybe the image just has like a piece of tape, or if you have like magnet bars and you just put it up there, put a magnet on it so it can come off and come back on. That's definitely a way to get there, right? Or you want to make sure so it's easy on, easy off, right? So whether it's like tape or magnets, something, you don't want to go like a full blown, this is, because you don't want those things on your vision board should not be there for long. You should be pulling them off once you accomplish them, right? Especially with the 90-day vision board. Those should be changing every single 90 days. Okay. So with your vision boards, right? Okay, there's a couple elements you want to have in there. One is like the picture. So we have the pic. And the picture you want to have is there's a couple different ways you want to go about this, right? So you want to be able to see yourself in it, right? So if and you can have multiple pictures in it, right? So if, like, for example, it's a car, your dream car, you really want to get that dream car. You have a picture on the outside, great. If you can even have a picture of yourself in there, that's gonna be even better because you want it to be able to visualize it. And also a picture of a first-person view of that vehicle. So for example, maybe for that car I have like 2 pictures on my vision board, and one picture is like the whole car, so I can see get the whole picture, and then other one is like of someone sitting in driver's seat in first person. So like as I can see my arms, or I can, you know what I mean, or I can see the steering wheel like I'm sitting in the driver's seat. That makes it easier for you to kind of imagine yourself in that situation. The great thing about AI now, it's a lot easier to superimpose your face or your body into images. So if it's a car, for example, and you can download the picture of that dream car, and you can put yourself in there, or maybe there's someone there, and then you can have AI put your face on there, so you see yourself in that image with that car. It's becoming real. That the picture itself is proof of it, and so that's why you want to have the picture. So I mean, if I'm supposed to say pick, P-I-C-K, but yeah, I'm right with my finger. It's not pretty. Marina, we'll talk about the Renata Side West stuff, but we'll talk about that later if you want. I'll give you some more information about that. But right, so we're having the picture, right, first person ideally. Yeah, and digital board. Yeah, you can definitely have a digital vision board, 100%. I like that, no problem. The cool thing about the digital vision board is that you can have it on your phone. You can have it on your computer. But I would recommend having a physical one too, if all possible. Even doesn't have to be like a massive one or whatever, but at least have your 90-day one in a physical location, in addition to having it in digital. Okay. If you want as simple as like a picture of your vision board is good enough. There's plenty of apps that actually like you can have a digital vision board and move things around, whatnot. But okay, so now we have a picture, and then with each picture, with the item, you're going to have like whether it's a sticky note, a piece of paper, something like that, and you're going to write down. You're going to write down your emotions, or excuse me, you're going to write I am statements or I have statements of that thing that you're looking for, as if you already have it. And in those statements, you're writing it down on. You're speaking it as if it's current. So for example, like I'm sitting in my dream car whatever the dream car is. I feel the leather in my hands as I grip the steering wheel. I hear the engine roaring when I slam on the gas. I can smell the air freshener of the new car smell. I hear the screeching of the wheels. You want as many like senses as possible, and I'm feeling so grateful because I have this car, or I have this whatever that is. Like I'm grateful that I have this as a now. Not like I'm grateful that I will have this, but I'm grateful that I have this on or before this date. I'm grateful that I have this on. So for example, if I'm talking about like the 90 days of my dream car, that's one of my things I want on my 90-day vision board. I'm so grateful that I have this XYZ car before March 31st. On or before March 31st. So I'm putting a date on there, right? And it's becoming like it's giving yourself like you're going to have this on or before. Put it on before is important, but also you're putting in there like your senses, your emotions. And so when you're looking at your vision board, you're going to imagine yourself in that car. You're imagining yourself with that deal closed, with all the above. You're imagining all of these things happen as if it's really happening, and it maybe 30 seconds. That's it. That's all you need. But you want to feel like the emotion. What would it feel like if I had that car? Like not just that'd be cool to have it, but like literally, if I just gave you those keys to that car, or I just had a big old pile of like maybe your goal is like to close a wholesale deal and you make 30 grand on it, and I just gave you a sack of money that has 30 grand on it because you closed that deal, how would it feel if once you got that money, once you got that dream car? How would you feel emotionally? So those kind of things you want to put in that little piece of paper right there. Okay, so like you're talking about your senses, but really you want to, what really kind of cements those visions if you connect it emotionally. Because even when you're learning something, they've done so many studies on this. Like if you are emotionally engaged with the item, with that subject, you're going to learn a lot more. Don't you guys ever notice, like especially when you're trying to learn something and you're not super, whether it's at work or school, whatever, and you're not really into it, it's really hard. It's harder to really grasp everything, to understand the whole thing. But when it's something that really intrigues you, like it really excites you, or like you pick up stuff really easy, a lot easier than you would before of something else. It's not because you're dumber or smarter, but because you have that emotional connection. You're like, oh yeah, this is gonna be amazing. Can't wait to do this. You know, I mean, I can tell you all sorts of stuff about Star Wars and nerd stuff, but talking about certain history times or whatever, it's like I don't know, or whatever, you know, because it doesn't excite me. It's not fun for me. So if I want to learn that, it's gonna take a little bit more effort. But when you have your vision board of that card, like you having like that emotion into it, we're creating the pathways, we're creating the way so our brains think that we have already gotten it, and so there's not going to be as much resistance of actually accomplishing it. That's what gets rid of self-sabotage. And then we'll notice things like, oh yeah, if my goal is to get 30,000 in a deal, like you're gonna notice things. Your thoughts are gonna pop in your head to talk to someone, or you hear something, or like, you know, I'm gonna make a post about this, and this, and somebody's gonna talk to you, like, oh, it's almost magical, but it's not. Your brain's that information, those opportunities have always been there in one fashion or another, but your brain has literally been making you blind to it. Just like how you're blind to the feelings that the pants is touching you right now, that you're feeling your shirt right now. Your brain shuts that off because it's just too much information. It has to do that. If your brain didn't shut off these certain things, we go crazy. So because it's so, if originally those goals are just so crazy to us in our minds and our brains, it's like it's just going to ignore those, and in fact hinder us. But if it's like, if it becomes real, like, oh yeah, I'm making 30,000 a month, awesome. That's, I've already done it in my mind, so there's not as much resistance, and I'm able to pick up and see different. I'm able to see all the Teslas in the car because I'm driving a Tesla, because I'm telling my brain it's important. It's the same thing when we're talking about our goals and what we're trying to accomplish. Like, I am an investor that closes $30,000. Like I'm not a smoker. I don't want to smoke. Or I am a smoker. I love smoking, or whatever. Or I am a healthy person. So it's never a challenge if I feel like I'm a healthy person, even though I'm 50 pounds overweight and I just started this, and I'm same as I'm a healthy person. I'm not going to eat that donut because I am a healthy person. Like, okay, even though before, and if it was just I'm on a diet, like, oh no, then I don't want to eat that. Nope, I'm on a diet, and so it's gonna take a lot more energy to resist that donut versus like, I know I'm a healthy person. I don't eat that. Oh, I'm an entrepreneur. I am motivated. That means instead of me going through social media and scrolling for hours on end, I'm going to make those phone calls. I'm a cold call master. I am a door knocking master. I'm just going to go knock on those doors. I'm going to do whatever it takes to make that deal happen, because that's just who you are. That's what you've created those images, visions in your head already. So that's what we want to do. You have your 90 day vision board, and then the from moving forward, you can have like a 6 months, you can have a year, 1 year, depending how far out. You can have anywhere from 5 to 10 year vision board. Okay, so Pete over here says other resources, Leslie Householder and Jack Rabbit Factor. Oh, that's a really good book. Yeah, that's a really good book, and it's a pretty good read too. It's talking about this guy's dream, not delusion, his dream he had. It's actually really cool. The Science of Getting Rich. Yes, those are all phenomenal, great resources, Pete. Appreciate it, man. Those are actually really good books, guys. Phenomenal, cool. So those are the type of things of like visualizing and understanding what things are versus not. So in our vision board, we're going to have all of those things, right? We're going to have the picture. I don't know why it's written there. We're going to have the picture and then some written in your handwriting of, I am so grateful that before or after this date, I have X amount of deals completed. I weigh 180 pounds or whatever the goal is. Whether it's real estate, money, life, relationships, whatever it is, right? So that's what you have. So you have all of those things. Perfect, Laura. Yeah, that's a good book to read. So having those visions, those thoughts in there. Now, what does most people do when they have a vision board? Maybe they create it, they'll throw it on the wall, and then they do nothing else with it, right? They think about it for the first month of January, and then February or the second week, or after the first week of January, then it's like, whatever. Not intentionally, but they're just back into their old ways. If you want the most effective way of doing this is looking at your vision board 30 minutes before you go to sleep, and once again 30 minutes of waking up. Why are those 2 times important? Because that's when you're just before you go to sleep, and just when you wake up within that 30-minute window, you're in it. Your brain waves are in. I can't remember the names of the brain waves. I just remember stuff. Maybe not every single word, but right. But you're actually in a hypnotic state. So it's easier to build those memories of the things you want to accomplish when you're in that hypnotic state already. You're basically in a form of hypnosis. So if you get in a habit, and that's what it is, Sacred Time, put an alarm on your phone, do whatever you got to do to make sure that you're going to spend a minute on this. Like literally, it's not hard, but just do it consistently, and you'll see magical things happen, right? If you can spend a lot more time on it, even better, but just do even a minute. And you're going to look at, so like the 90-day board, no more than 5 things, I think. Other than that, it's just going to be really hard to kind of focus and memorize, or not memorize, but really visualize this stuff. And I'm going to go through, I'm going to look at the picture, and I'm going to read what I've written down as far as like, I'm so grateful by this date or sooner, I have my dream car of XYZ in this color. And the more detailed you are, the better it's going to be. If I just say I want to earn more money, and I just have a dollar bill up here or whatever as a picture, great. Here's a quarter. You earn more money. Accomplished. Done. You have to be specific as humanly possible. How much money you want to earn that deal? Not just, I want to close my first wholesale deal. Okay, cool. How much money you want to do in that deal? What city are you actually going to close in? What title company are you going to use? The more details you put in there, the better. Those kind of thoughts in there, like, yeah, I'm so grateful that Christine G. Title helped me to close this deal. I'm so grateful that I was able to partner with XYZ person. And I feel the paper, I feel the pin in my hands as I'm signing that wholesale contract that's earned me $30,000. I'm so grateful that I'm able to help the seller out of their tough situation by buying their house. And you're just going to spend just 30 seconds per thing, per item, and just put yourself in there. And it's not just visualizing it, but having the emotional state of that actually have already happened. How would you feel if I just dropped $30,000 in your lap? How would you feel? Those type of emotions you want to have. And so you're going to do that just in the morning and in the afternoon, or before you go to sleep. Ideally within the 30. If you can't do it within the 30 minutes, you're dropping the kids off or whatever, that's fine. But at least do it consistently every day. That's it. Just spend a minute or two visualizing it and really putting it in there. Does this make sense, guys?
Yeah, Jared.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
And here's the thing. Let me give you another word of advice or a trick. So I will, especially after 90 days, I will pick one thing specific that I really want to accomplish. So like, let's say my 90-day vision board, I have one thing in there out of those 5 things that I'm like, this is what I want to do. Right. Raina, perfect. Like I like how you put it. So it's just faith believing what you don't see. If you don't see it, you don't see it. Right. So that's why that's important of this. The whole vision board is actually you are seeing yourself already accomplishing these things. You're putting yourself there. That way, it's not even. I mean, you're 100% right. It's almost like not even faith because it's already existed. It's already happened. If someone say, Jared, you'll never make 50,000. You're never going to make $100,000 in 1 month. I'm like, well, I've already done that. What do you mean? I'm not going to make $100,000. I've already done that. Like no one can come to me and say I have it because I have made over $100,000 in 1 month. So I'm not talking about vision board or anything. Like that's a thing that's happened, you know. And I've gotten really close to do it multiple times in you know over the course of my career. So it's like, what if someone tried to say that to me? Like you're not gonna. There's no way it's gonna happen. Like, well, it's already happened. What are you talking about? You know, that kind of knowledge, like it already exists. It's already there. That's kind of like how it needs to be, as far as your vision boards and things like that. So now, out of the 90-day vision board, I would say pick one, whatever that is. Let's just say it's a car. It's something tangible, whatever it is, right? It could be anything. But so not only you're gonna have this on your vision board, I would take those pictures and then the script, like I'm so grateful that I have XYZ dream car and I'm feeling the steering wheel, I'm feeling, and make that at least that image and put it in places all over your house or in your car. I remember when there's something I'm really focusing on getting. So let's just say it's getting your first wholesale transaction where you're going to make $20,000 profits on. Okay, have a picture of you signing a contract, or maybe like you at title company, or at title company, or like a beat up house, something like that, right? As much as if you can superpose yourself in there with AI or whatever, all the better. But it's not necessary, but it does help. Okay. And you have that image of that wholesale, of you closing that wholesale deal, you have it, you want to put it like anywhere you can, like on the mirror in the bathroom, right? You're brushing your teeth, you're looking at that, you're feeling that, and you want to like as the day goes on, you want to feel that. You want to feel me closing that first wholesale transaction. And before I go to sleep, when I wake up, I'm looking at my vision board and feel that emotion, what it feels like. And even like I had a lot of times I put like another copy of this on the visor of my car. So I drop my visor. Oh, there's that goal. Yes, it's already happened. I got it. So you can really kind of put a lot of energy and focus into one of these things that you really want to accomplish in the next 90 days, and just put as many of those things out as humanly possible. And knowing that maybe your kids or spouse might tease you a little bit, or what is this? Like you will get pushback, right? But that's okay. But once you start accomplishing these things, they're gonna stop. They're gonna say, well, wait, you got a picture of that card, Dad, you were talking about, and it's been up there for a couple months, but now you have it in the driveway. Like what? They're gonna stop. They'll stop saying anything. You know, once you start accomplishing those things, it'll stop. Another thing too, guys, as you are
there she is.
As you're accomplishing certain things, I would recommend is like if closing your first wholesale deal, take that picture, that note, and put it somewhere safe where you can look at it, whether it's a binder, whether it's a board, it's a drawer, or whatever it is, and actually like have that as it's almost like a proof of concept. It's like a accomplishment drawer, you know, or accomplishment binder. And when you're feeling like doubting yourself, where this is so dumb, and go back to that drawer, go back to that binder, wherever you're putting it, and look at those things like, yes, I accomplished that. this is so out of the way. I never thought I'd ever get something like this, but I did it. I got that first wholesale transaction, even though I doubted myself. I didn't feel like I was prepared. Whatever story you're telling yourself, all of those things. Have proof of what you accomplished. Like I on my on the wall of my office in the front, I had in 2020, in March, you know, we all know what happened in 2020, right? But I remember when because I was wholesaling deals, and I remember especially when everything went for the first lockdown. I mean, I had a couple of deals under contract, and I was trying to find a buyer, and all the buyers were like, I don't know about this anymore, because we just want to find out, we want to slow things down until we know what's going on with fear was striking everybody. And so I remember hearing everyone was saying like, this is the market's going to turn, it's going to go really bad. And I closed like over 20 transactions in that deal, like 25 transactions were taken. I don't remember the exact number, but in that year, in that time frame, and so I have a picture of all those deals I made in 2020 just on my wall, as proof to me, to myself, that it's real, that what I'm doing or what I have accomplished is real, right? Like I when I'm down on myself, which happens more often than I care to admit, I can look at that and feel like, okay, no, you know what? I did the hard thing. This isn't as hard as that thing. There's not as many things against me as that. And so that's why it's really important to have that achievement board or achievement drawer, achievement binder, whatever it is. Taylor, I like this. So I would just like to accomplish things so that I can feel successful within myself, and definitely hear from others how surprised they are, and hear them say, wow, Taylor, that was right. So like, you want to be specific as possible, Taylor, on that. I love that, first of all, because you're putting a lot of emotion into that. Like, what does that feel like to have that? So what would be the things you would have to accomplish to get those things to happen? Like if it's, I'm going to make $30,000 a month, closing 2 real estate deals a month. What are you going to do to do those things, and then to have those people have that to hear other people say how surprised they are? You know, like, wow, Taylor, that's awesome. Taylor was right. Holy cow. You know, prove people wrong. The shut up checks, as Maley puts it, and it's so true. The shut up checks, because especially when you're starting something new and everyone's they're going off the norm programming, like, no, you can't do that. That's crazy. And so you get a lot of that. So yeah, so getting a shut up check. How does that feel? But also, like, what's going to feel when you're getting that money? How's it going to affect you? How's it going to affect your relationship? Does it feel so good that I'm going to be able to pay off that car, or what are you going to do with the money? If it's a money, what are you going to do with it? Because again, remember, I've talked about, like, when you're negotiating, it's nothing to do with money. It's about what the money does for you. So what's the emotional feeling of you getting that money? What would you do with it? Those are the things you want to write in the paper underneath your picture. And in fact, I have like $30,000, like, or $100,000 in $100 bills. They're fake, by the way, but I have it on my desk just to have that there. Like, yeah, that's mine. Like, it's just that something tangible to touch and feel, where it's like, yeah, money just comes to me. It's always there, because I always have it. You know, one of my friends, Michael Huggins, when he was broke as a joke, he would purposely stash money everywhere. And we're talking like $1, $5, a $10. Like, he had he had, like, $10 in his kitchen drawer with his knives, or dollar here, dollar there, because everywhere he would look, he would see money, have money, even though it wasn't very much for many people's standards. But it was just like changing his mindset. Instead of abundance, instead of a scarcity, he had abundance of money, of the funds. I like that. I haven't heard that. Thank you. Appreciate that. Everyone's support within this community, and the challenge is very much appreciated. Amazing people here. Couldn't agree with you more, man. Yeah, appreciate having you on too. Thanks for participating. All right, guys. I'm gonna what other questions before call wraps? We're past the hour mark, so I'm gonna get us going. I'll get this recorded and sent up. Does anybody have any questions or thoughts before we wrap up?
I just have one question. So
Please.
the iOS, how you pull up those NODs like so quick and just have them printed out.
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time doing that when I actually try and do it for myself. And I've messaged iOS and it starts through an email, so it's just going back and forth and taking a lot of time.
Okay.
NOD has changed since I last used it, and it's like takes a long time to find every single one. Like it's super long now. Do you have like a quick second that you can just pull up iOS and like show me how to pull? When you do it, it's super fast, but when I try and do it for myself, I get like it doesn't look the same.
Yeah. Maybe. Let's see here. I gotta
From
run
like
here
beginning to end. Like
we
from
might be
where
able to
you log
do.
in.
Might be able to do like a call and show you how to do it. But yeah, so it should just be able to jump on there, and I don't know what you're seeing. Maybe I'll have to do like a share screen with you or something so I can see what you're
Yeah, I would
referring to.
appreciate
I'm
that.
not
Just
sure
like
why.
I know it'll take like 2 seconds, someone walking me through it, but trying to navigate and going back through and forth through email is wasting so much time.
Gap.
Jared, do you have just the basic iOS or do you have some of the advanced packages?
I just have the basic.
Oh, okay.
That's it. So you don't need all the fancy stuff. I mean, if you want to, I mean, if you're gonna get them, it's probably worth it. So I'm not. By me saying I just have the basic doesn't mean that you shouldn't get the everything. But it's I'm all about good enough is good enough. So just real quick, Heather, let me.
Okay, thank you.
I got like a gazillion tabs open all the time. It's ridiculous. But anyways, okay. So
And I didn't know your name was Estella.
yes. So Estella is she's the main. So Estella, my wife, she's the main person on the account. Like I'm her learning partner in Renatus, and so that's why it shows Estella in there.
That's why I'm Laura. That's
Exactly.
interesting.
That's right. Laura's never looked worse. Oh my goodness, poor thing. Oh jeez. Oh, that's his car on there.
Thanks, Jared.
I meant to say like because if he's saying Laura, like I was trying to call Carl ugly, not you, Laura. That totally backfired.
You guys if she looked like me, she should be shot.
Yes. Okay, so lead pipes, lead property leads, and then you can just go into whatever. So we're going to Salt Lake City, for example. I guess we got it. So
wait, how did you get to here? Sorry, you're
good. So
okay.
when you're home, and they have like videos in Renata's back office too, guys. So but like so we're like in the hamburger menu, pipes,
Okay.
property leads. Oh, excuse me. So far so good, and then city, whatever, Salt Lake, county. We'll just do county because why not? Doesn't matter. Now, result is 3,027. So that's when you want to go through here, like look at this too. So you want absentee owners, you want active listings, upside down foreclosures. You click on foreclosures. That's gonna now there's 406 to 300,000 and change, right? Because it's just pulling everything. That was 406. One of my beefs with Renatus iOS, it pulls out anything for like the last like couple of years in some scenarios. So if you go to filters right here, scroll all the way down, foreclosure information, last notice date, anywhere from 3 to 6 months. So we're at 406 to 149, last 3 months.
Okay.
And then you have all of that. You can just select all, put in your leads, export it, all that stuff. Does that make sense, Heather?
Yeah, I knew that you could show me in like 2 seconds and it would be fast and easy. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Absolutely. I'll send you the bill later. I'm just kidding. Okay, awesome, guys. Well, there's no call tomorrow or the next day, the 31st or the 1st. But we'll pick up on Thursday. Okay. But
Are we
why
door
don't we do
knocking
this, guys?
Saturday?
What was that?
Are we door knocking Saturday?
The Saturday is the 4th. Yeah. I'm game if you guys want to go door knocking on Saturday.
Let's do it. Yeah, I went door
Okay.
knocking Saturday and it rained, but I pushed through.
Because I couldn't do on the 28th. So if you guys want to do the 4th, I'm game. I will only do it on the 4th if at least 10 people post about their vision board with the picture. If 10 people don't, I mean, you guys can go off and do your own, but I'm not gonna. It's not gonna be an event. So there you have it. My ultimatum. Not ultimatum.
Very cheeky.
Whatever.
Very cheeky.
What's the word? Okay. Gap in the Game. Good book. Oh, it's another book, guys. Yeah, Gap in the Game. I haven't read that, so that's gonna have to put it on my list. Aubrey says, "Thanks, Jared. I like vision boards better than resolutions. A lot of people expect perfection of themselves, and the minute they mess up, it's over. It's important to get up and try again. You don't need a new year to make new changes. You can start again this minute, this hour, this day." Boom. Mic drop from Aubrey.
Should we just tag you when we post it?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yes, you
By
post
when?
post
By
it on
Saturday?
socials, but I'm more referring to in the community, in the school.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah, put it on socials, nothing wrong. I mean, that's even better, right? Love it. Do it.
Okay.
Okay. Awesome, guys.
All right. Enjoy.
I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Love y'all.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy
Happy
New Year.
New
Oh, yeah.
Year.
See you guys next year. Okay.
Happy New Year.